Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Peter here from PDG Advertising, and it is Friday, and it's time for episode 7 of the PDG Advertising podcast. This is potentially going to be a big one. Might not be. Let's see how we go. I've got a lot to go through. Today was the end of a busy, eventful week for PDG Advertising. We've got our room painted. It's great. It's a little bit. It's not completely done. I think the guys need to come back and do another coat on it, maybe. And the fumes are definitely starting to take over a little bit in here. But the window will be open. Well, the window will be open for the next little while, and we'll see if that helps. So today, one of the first things we were doing was reviewing our Google adverts for a customer. I don't know if I told you this. I think I did, but there was a problem where they were overspending. They weren't really overspending. Google was making some sort of an error and overspending and not charging us for it. This has happened again, so we need to investigate that more. Got a much tighter rein on it now, watching it daily in order to make that happen. So we've been watching that to make sure that it's not something that's going to continue, and we're in constant communication with Google about it, which is good. My specialist Tanja, who looks after Google Ads for us, she is kind of baffled by it. And anybody else we've talked about Google Ads multiplying themselves up by 10 times instead of the regular 2 times to flex up a little bit. It's just kind of unheard of. And I'm looking forward to making sure that this doesn't happen in the future. There's no harm really done to the client immediately in terms of monetary value, but there's an overall harm in terms of the reporting aspect. If it's saying that it's spending a certain amount and we're relying on that for our future planning and our future reporting, then that's a real problem. And I don't think Google have entirely got that. I really this week have really felt let down by Google's customer service and their approach to dealing with problems whenever they arise, and they do arise. It's a complex thing, online advertising at times, and it's really not helped whenever the guys on the other end really don't understand what's important to the customer. We're going through some reports today. Friday can be a time of kind of analysing the week and understanding how things are going. I've talked about our dashboards on the podcast before, and I really think that there is such a value in a weekly look overview on how things are going and how you're doing. Some of the dashboards that we create, well, all of them are different because every business is different. They have similar themes. I mean, if I was to run off some of the metrics that we measure for a customer that I've got a dashboard here in front of me for, would be top one is Facebook reach, interestingly. The next one is Google impressions. Next one is Facebook spend, Google spend, engaged on Facebook, Google ads, clicks, web hits from Google Analytics, time on site, bounce rate, number of add to carts, transactions, and transactions dollar value throughout the week. We've got a section for the sources of our sales where we put in where we made our sales and what contributed to our sales, and even down as far as how many customers repeat purchased for us and how many positive reviews the brand got. So that's quite a list, but it's one of the smallest reports that we do for this customer. And I'm looking at it right now, and it's just on a spreadsheet. It's really low tech, the dashboard that we create. I have found over and over again that the big players in dashboard reporting, they always fall short, and being able to create one yourself on Google Sheets is the only way to reliably check on how you're progressing. To do it, obviously, we take in analytics and data from so many different sources like Facebook ads, Google Analytics, Google Ads, Shopify Analytics, email marketing, campaign providers like MailChimp and Infusionsoft, but we, in terms of pulling that all together, we've not found a platform. If you have a platform that does this, or you know of one, put it in the comments wherever you find this, and I'll take a look at it and review it. I'd love to find something that moved us away from the archaic sheets, but right now they're the only way that we can do it to make sure that we're following up and tracking reports and progress week on week. So today we were delivering the strategy that we had been creating over the past week and a half or so. It's a great strategy delivery call. Our customers for this business, it's a social video creation customer, and they are a joy to talk to. The call was supposed to last for an hour maximum, went on for 2 hours. I missed a new customer sales call because of it. I had to pause the strategy delivery Skype video call halfway through to call this new prospect and say, look, we're just getting into it with a customer right now, and I need to move you up the list, or move you down the list, I suppose, which is something that I wouldn't normally want to do, but it was just so good to be able to go through something that you've worked hard on with two people on that are really interested in progressing their business forward, and something that came through. Now, in advertising and marketing, we can do so much to get your business out there, but we can't make a good product out of nothing. They have a great product, this customer that we're doing the strategy for, so I have no doubt they're going to be wildly successful in the future. But that's only because they have a good product. And I was forcibly reminding them today that, this is the blueprint to get your business out there. This is a blueprint to have growth in your business, and your have growth in your on your channels, and to build your email list and all of those great things. But unless you couple that with being able to work on your product and the business and the website and what value you're adding to people's lives, then you'll only ever get so big, and you'll only ever be so successful, or maybe not even successful at all. So that was a really important point. Working on your product and working what you do is more important than working on your advertising. What's really interesting for us here in PDG Advertising is that working on advertising and working on our advertising actually helps us to work on our product, which is advertising for other customers. So that's a joy. It's something that's really come up today and this week, and I'm looking forward to the next project that we're working on with them, and also I'm looking forward to the next project for any customer, because every time we work on a customer's advertising, we're working on our product. Every time we work on our own advertising, this podcast, we're working on our product. So it's really very exciting. Little bit of a segue into this before we move on. The two customers that are building the business that we were speaking about previously, the two people, things got quite dramatic. They're talking about selling their second home to fund this business, and it just struck me how real this is whenever people are investing in their business. And the business that they're trying to create, it's really cool, but it doesn't have a real money-making aspect to it now. And I think that was part of the value in talking to someone like ourselves, where we said, you can't really go further without that plan of making money. You've got to, be able to say, this is how we will sustain ourselves in the future without having to sell everything. And it just got really real, and it was really a great point that we could say, look, this is good that we met to talk about this and go through this strategy, because without that fundamental piece, going forward doesn't make any sense. So the call that we had to put off for a little while for our new sales call, we had a sales call today. The really nice guy called Dave. We get a lot of appointments being made for PDG Advertising services throughout the day. Now, we, as an agency and as a business, we need to filter the inquiries that come in a little bit. we need to qualify them. And I've always qualified, a business opportunity based on BANT. It might be a really old one, but let's see if I can even remember it. Budget, authority, need, and time. So do they have the budget to work with us to achieve what they want? And can we service their needs with the budget that they have? Authority is the person that we're speaking to, the person that's going to make the decision, or do they have appropriate influence on the decision that's going to be made? Do they actually need what we offer? Is it something they need? Because there's no point if it's not. And time, when do they need it? Is it going to be 3 years from now, or is it going to be today? So those 4 factors help us make a great decision on whether or not to take on the business. And this guy got proper through the net, but I'm really glad that he did. He put on that he had a budget that was way outside of what he actually had, and I don't know whether it was a mistake on the keyboard or not. But we went on the sales call, and Dave wants to leave his 9 to 5 and wants to do something that he really enjoys, and that's fantastic. That's really good. And he has some budget to be able to do it, but it wasn't what we needed. But it was really nice to talk to him and really nice to figure out what it was that he wanted to do. And I guess this was an important call because normally we a lot of the time in the past maybe we've not taken the time to go through these things with people, but I spent maybe half an hour on the phone with Dave, just going through what he wanted to do. And basically what he wants to do is build a website that sells large toys kids, like outdoor adventure centres to people online, and he wants to start doing that. But in order to do that, he wants to get some experience just selling online. So he was going to create a Shopify store and drop ship some products to people. Now, that for us is an immediate no in terms of can we help a person to do that, because drop shipping is just something that we stay really far away from. We want to be working with the manufacturers of the product or the trade buyers and sellers of the products, not people that are buying it on face value on the internet and then trying to sell it for more. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, and we think it's great. It's just an agency does not move on those grounds. An agency does not, it can't sustain itself because the person selling the thing can sustain themselves based on, maybe making a little bit of money off that, but it's not something, it all cuts into that profit margin that the customer has, and the advert spend and the labor cost from PDG Advertising just wipes out any profit that can be made there. It might be possible, and it might be wrong, and they might be able to do that, but I think the moving tides of products shifting on the internet and something being popular 1 minute and not the next, that means it's very difficult to match up with someone who's doing that. So 2 factors: one, the drop shipping, and the second one was his budget, where he said he had about £500 per month to spend on advertising. It's not a bad budget. It's not something that's wrong. It's just for an agency to bring on an agency. If you want someone to manage that budget, that is less than £15 per day ad spend. So £500 per month, it's £15 per day ad spend, and it really limits the amount of testing that you can do. You might get to where you want to go, but it's going to take you a lot longer to get there. And one of the most important things really is that you have enough kick and enough budget behind you to start testing. And we suggest, just through experience, and I'm very open to challenge on this, that £30 per day is a good amount to be able to test out for a product to see how it's working. Now, I'm not saying that the corner high street or the local, any local business can't benefit from even £1 per day on adverts. It's just, if you want someone else to manage it for you, then that management fee has to come along, and it will just eat into your overall budget and might not be sustainable for you. So 2 things that went wrong in the sales call. One was the drop shipping aspect to start off. The next was the budget was just too low for us to be able to work with. So understanding that quickly, realised it wasn't an opportunity that we'd be able to take on right now. But then we got talking to Dave, and thought, Dave, you're great guy. and we both had a very open and frank conversation, and I told him, look, this isn't for us, but I want to tell you some things that might help you along your way. So some of the things that we mentioned were, don't work with people that are going to promise you the world, but then you don't see any results after 2 or 3 weeks, and they can't tell you what metrics, and go with that feel of, is this working or not? That's very important. I actually told Dave, do it yourself for a while. Go into Facebook ads, go into Google ads, go into Google Shopping, find out, how these things work, and just try to piece together the bits that you can't do or that you don't feel you're good at, and then seek out the experts for that. You will be richer in experience for it, and richer, in the ability to select the right digital advertising partner for you after you do that. I think Dave appreciated the honesty and appreciated that we were saying, look, we actually enjoy that whole flipping things and drop shipping things. It's just difficult for us to come with a package that can service that need. So all in all, not a successful sale call for us, but a successful call for me and a successful call for Dave. I feel like, and we said we would, check in and update each other on how things were going. So I look forward to that and seeing how Dave continues his journey. And who knows, down the line, whenever he's dominating the world of outdoor toys and that, maybe we can connect up, and maybe because we gave some good advice now, maybe we can, connect up in the future and work together on something after all. And I'd love to. Great guy, Dave. I had a very interesting conversation today about whether advertising is an art or a science, and I don't know the answer to this. I wonder this all the time. Is it an art or is it a science? What even is an art? And well, it's quite clear what a science is to me anyway. Something that, you can measure and something where there's evidence for. In that way, I think advertising is very much a science. It's something that you can measure and you can see if it's working or not. I'm very much actually over on the side of it being a science, but I think that there is art involved in it, and I think that there's basically art in it because there's designs and there's, if something looks nice and it matches up with the right audience, then it works. Maybe it's that grey area that is the lack of clarity around something being an art and a science. Maybe it can be both. Maybe that's somewhere in between. I don't know, but it was a very interesting comment that was made today. So everyone, I think that's it for the PDG Advertising podcast today. I thought it might have been a bit longer, but it doesn't have to be. I think there were some important points made on, and a really great week for PDG Advertising. I'm looking forward to next week already. I can't imagine that we'll do a podcast on the weekend. It'll likely be Monday, and we'll take it from there. But I really appreciate that you've listened to this, and I look forward to sharing the rest of our journey as the days go on.